All right, let's be real. Have you ever spent months, maybe even years, trying to learn a language, and then, poof, the words are just gone right when you need them? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So today, we're going to decode the science-backed way to stop just learning a language and start truly acquiring it for good. So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dive into why the old-school ways of learning a language just don't work for most of us. Then we'll get into the actual science of how our brains are meant to pick up a language. We'll look at the biology, the mindset you need for mastery, and then, the best part, we'll lay out a complete roadmap to get you fluent. All right, first things first, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one that every single language learner has felt. The struggle, that feeling like you're just spinning your wheels and not getting anywhere. So, what's really going on here?
And that is the million-dollar question, right? Look, this isn't about some magic app or secret trick. It's about a fundamental mismatch, a disconnect between how we're told to learn and how our brains are actually biologically wired to pick up a new language.
You know, this is what the experts call the revolving door of learning. We study, we cram vocab lists, we drill grammar rules, and then, just like that, it's gone. We get stuck on that dreaded intermediate plateau where it feels like we're not making any progress at all. But listen, and this is super important, this is not because you're not smart enough. It's because the strategy is broken. So, how do we fix this broken strategy? Well, this is where modern linguistics just completely flips the script. Seriously, this next idea is the game changer. It's what separates the people who get fluent from those who stay frustrated forever. Okay, so here's the core idea, and it comes from the groundbreaking work of a linguist named Stephen Krashen. It's all about the difference between learning and acquiring. Think about it. Acquiring is what a little kid does. They don't sit down with grammar books, right? They just absorb the language by hearing it and understanding what people are saying. Learning, that's the formal, conscious stuff we do in a classroom, all those rules and drills. The problem is, our schools focus almost entirely on learning, when real, lasting fluency comes from acquisition. And this next part explains exactly how that acquisition happens. It's a concept Krashen calls comprehensible input. It sounds a little technical, but it's actually super simple. It just means you need to be listening to and reading stuff you can mostly understand. That's the I in his formula. But it has to have a little bit of new stuff you don't know yet. That's the +1. That little stretch, that's where all the magic happens. It is the absolute engine of language growth. And honestly, this quote from Krashen just nails it. The path to fluency isn't paved with grammar drills. It's paved with tons and tons of hours of just understanding messages. We're talking interesting stories, podcasts you actually like, conversations you want to have. It's all about the meaning, not the rules. But there's a catch. You could have the most perfect comprehensible input in the world, and it still might not work. Why? Because of something Krashen called the affective filter. Think of it like a mental shield or an emotional wall. When you're feeling anxious or bored or you're worried about sounding stupid, that shield goes up, and it literally blocks the language from getting to the part of your brain that does the acquiring. So, a relaxed, motivated mind is an open mind. It's that simple. Okay, so that's the linguistic theory. Super powerful stuff. But now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the biology. Let's look at your brain and figure out how we can work with it, not against it, to make language actually stick and, well, to stop forgetting everything. Okay, so meet your brain's #1 enemy, the forgetting curve. This isn't new. It was discovered way back in the 1880s, and what it shows is scary. Without reinforcement, we forget stuff at an incredible rate. That new word you learned this morning? Yeah, there's a good chance more than half of it will be gone by tonight. It's just how our brains work. But the good news is, we can fight it. And our perfect weapon against the forgetting curve is something called a spaced repetition system, or SRS. Instead of just cramming flashcards over and over, an SRS app is smart. It figures out the exact moment you're about to forget a word, and it shows it to you right then. When you get it right, it waits longer before showing you again. First a few minutes, then a day, then a week, then months. This process is like forging a path in your brain, moving that knowledge from flimsy short-term memory into solid, rock-hard long-term memory. And it gets better. You have 2 other secret weapons: sleep and exercise. Seriously, sleep isn't passive. It's when your brain is hard at work organizing and storing everything you learned that day. It's like a nightly file transfer to your long-term memory. And exercise, it boosts a protein called BDNF. You can think of it as literally miracle grow for your brain. The research is incredible. It can boost your learning speed by up to 20% by making your brain more flexible and ready to learn.
So, we've got the linguistic theory and we've got the neuroscience of your brain's hardware. But none of that matters without the final, crucial piece of the puzzle, managing the software. We're talking about your own mindset.
Honestly, this is the reason most people quit. It's not because the language is too difficult. It's because the emotional side of it, feeling stupid, getting bored, feeling like you're not making progress, it just becomes too much to handle. That's why managing your mindset isn't some fluffy soft skill. It is a core, non-negotiable part of getting fluent.
And we can actually borrow some simple tricks from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, to get this done. It's a 3-step process. First, just start noticing those negative thoughts that pop into your head like, oh, I'm going to sound so stupid. Step 2, challenge it. Ask yourself, is that really true? Or are mistakes just proof that I'm trying? And finally, step 3, reframe it. Instead of saying, I have to study, try telling yourself, I get to explore a whole new culture. That tiny mental shift makes a huge difference in lowering that affective filter we mentioned earlier.
And please stop trying to rely on willpower. It's like a muscle that just gets exhausted. A much better way is to automate your learning using a simple trick called habit stacking. All you do is find a habit you already have, something you do every day without thinking, like making your morning coffee. Then, you just tack on a tiny little language habit right after it. So, after I start the coffee maker, I will review 5 flashcards. That's it. It becomes automatic. No willpower needed.
All right, let's bring all this home. The theory is great, but what does this actually look like day to day? Let's build a concrete, step-by-step plan that you can literally start using today.
So what we have here is a 12-month roadmap, and it's designed specifically for someone learning on their own. We've broken it down into 4 phases. Each phase is a very clear focus to guide you, taking you from the absolute basics all the way to making the language a real part of your everyday life.
So let's quickly walk through the activities. In the first 3 months, the foundation phase, you're just focused on massive listening, using an SRS app for your first 1,000 words, and something called blind shadowing. That's where you just repeat what you hear to get the sounds right. Then, months 4 to 6, the expansion phase, you'll try the core novel method, basically reading one book over and over to really absorb it. And you'll start languaging, which is a fancy term for talking to yourself. Months 7 to 9, deepening. You're jumping into native TV shows and movies and trying task-based learning. That means using the language to do something real, like Google how to plan a trip. And finally, in the mastery phase, it's all about full integration. Switch your phone, your hobbies, everything you can into your new language.
And this quote right here really sums it all up. You have to become the project manager of your own learning. This isn't about blindly following some textbook. It's about you taking charge, understanding these principles, and building a system that works for your brain and your life. You are the architect here.
So there you have it. The path from feeling stuck to feeling fluent. It's not a mystery. It's a science. It's about combining that comprehensible input with smart memory hacks and a solid mindset. The map is officially in your hands now. So the only question is, what's your first step going to be?